unexpected expenses.
Okay. So, yeah. When I said, okay, that you save some part of it for unexpected expenses, and you spend part of it. The truth is this: you've all spoken beautifully well. It is what you will do with it. Is that it? So, and now, is that the question now comes to, is that the right approach? Because one thing is this: everybody knows it's good to save, everybody knows it's good to invest. But the question is, do we know how to save or invest well? Do we know how to manage that money well? So, and that is also what I call the financial foundation. How do you lay your financial foundation? You lay your financial foundation the same way you build your house. You don't start from the roof when you want to build a house. Where do you start from? From the foundation. Your financial house must have a solid foundation. And in any part of the world, and most especially in this part of the world where we are, there is one other thing that is as sure as death. That other thing is tax. The way death is sure for every one of us at the appropriate time that God wants to go, that is the same way tax is sure. To the extent that even a dead person pays tax in this part of the world. Do we know that? You don't know. A dead person in this country pays tax. That is what we call final tax. When the person is gone, the accountant will have to sit down and do the final tax. So now the person is showing salary. That is the sincere truth. And somebody must pay that tax.
And they can't pay.
Somebody must pay one way or the other. And somebody will pay one way or the other. So we get to that. So that is as sure as anything for every one of us. That also informs why you must have the right foundation. And what does the right foundation start with? It starts from what we call protection. Our building of financial house does not start from investment. We all think about investment, but that is not it. We start with protection. What are protection? Or what are we protecting? One, we want to protect our income. We want to protect our family. We want to protect our health. We want to protect any form of things that are not within our control. Some of this protection, indirectly we don't know that they are what the government makes some compulsory. For instance, auto insurance. Can you drive in this country without an auto insurance? No. But do you feel the government is being too strict by saying you should have that? No. Because it's a protection. A protection against an occurrence that you might not be in the position to undo if it happens. Government didn't say because you have auto insurance, go and start looking for accident. And I won't say because I signed up for auto insurance. Before I leave from everything, I must pray, God, don't let me get involved in accident. But it is here because government wants me to be able to shift that risk to a third party that can undo it in case it happens. You want to close a mortgage and they are telling you you must get home insurance or contents insurance. It's a protection. Against if any hazard happen to that house, you might not be financially buoyant enough at that point in time to solve that problem. But you've successfully been able to shift it to a third party that can help you undo it. And we talk about protection of, even life insurance. That is a form of protection. You're protecting yourself, you're protecting your family, you're protecting your income. People do, you see, disability insurance year. So how will I pay the bill if due to injury or sickness I'm not able to go to work? It means I need somebody or an entity to be able to help me to sort that bill at that point in time. So that is why protection comes first. And the truth is this: protection is the only place where you can use small amount of money to get large amount of money. If you are buying $2 million worth of life insurance, you won't pay $2 million for it. If you decide to buy disability insurance and they tell you, oh, we only give you 70% of your income if anything happens, compare that 70% to zero if something happens. And what you will now get will be more than whatsoever you have even paid into it. So protection comes first. So after protection, we talk about debt management. Like I asked the question the other time, $1,000 you have in your pocket, and somebody says, oh, okay, I'll spend it, I'll use it to do investment. But what if, as you have that $1,000, you have a credit card, and you have a balance owing of $2,000 on that credit card? Do you think it is wise for you to go and save that $1,000? Yes. It is not. The reason is this. Now, if you put that money, even in a GIC, in a bank in Canada, GIC that they will promise you, they will give you high yield. Forget savings accounts. There is nothing on savings accounts in Canada. No bank will give you up to 1% interest. So let's now say, okay, I want to go and do GIC, and the bank promises me 3%. Check the credit card. The bank expects me to pay double digits, over 20% on balance owing. So who is this smart now? The bank is smarter, that's what they are telling me. So instead of me using that, putting my $1,000 in sitting in a savings account that is not giving me any money, anything, and I'm owing a bank that want to get 22% from me on the balance owing, I will use that 1,000 to reduce the amount I'm owing there. So which means as much as possible, if I can reduce the amount, you usually want to say, oh, don't let your credit card go below 70%. Always, at least you cannot pay everything. But if I have the opportunity, the ability to be able to pay everything, that is the best thing. That, okay, I need to use the credit card. I need to use the line of credit. Why? We live in a credit economy, where if you don't use all those instruments, you will not build credit history. And if you don't build credit history, there are some things in the system that you cannot get. You want to get mortgage, if you don't have credit history, nobody will give you. Except you have that money that you want to put down, not mortgage, you want to buy cash down. You feel okay, you want to get a new car, say on finance or lease, they want to check your credit history. If you have not used credit card or line of credit, where will you get this? Credit history is that they want to see who you have owed before and how you are able to pay. But at the same time, they want to use it to make money. There is what we call the rule of 72. The rule of 72 is talking about how long it will take your investment to double relative to the rate of interest you'll be getting on that investment. And it's the same thing that will determine how much it will take the money you are owing to double. So if a bank is giving me 2% on an investment that I put here, if I put 1,000 here, so 72 divided by 2, that is, divide the rate of interest, divide 2 by the rate of interest, that is the number of years to take that money to double. So which means, if I have 2% in a bank, it means 72 divided by 2, my money will double in 36 years, that's it. And the same bank now gives me credit card and wants me to pay, say 20%. So if I refuse to pay that, you know that whatever I'm owing them, 72 divided by 20, that's like 3.2 or so. So, which means like it takes like just less than 4 years for the amount I'm owing to double. But for a bank that is so benevolent with me, giving me 2% of my investment, I will need it will take 36 years for that my investment to double. So it doesn't really make any sense. Having a large balance in your credit card or line of credit, and you now put some money there, you do some money in the checking account, in the savings account that is not giving you anything, and you feel that sense of, okay, the first sense of being wealthy. That's what I call it. You thought you were $1,000 richer, whereas your net value is minus 1,000. Is that what it is? If you are only 2,000 in a credit card, you have 1,000 in your savings account. So 1 minus 2 is what? Minus 1. So we must be smart enough. How do you make sure that the bank don't get unnecessary interest from you? Pay down that balance owing as much as possible. If it's possible that, okay, I'm building interest and I just pay it back. If you pay it back, the bank will not get any interest. Because even if their interest rate is 25% of zero, balance owing is no. But you know what they do for us? They trick us. You use credit card. Bank gave you, say, 5,000 balance on your credit card, and you spend it down to $4,000. And the bank tries to be nice with you and tell you, okay, minimum payment by so date, $100, and you're happy. You pay the $100, you are still owing $3,900. The bank charges that $3,100. You pay more interest. And if care is not taken, you might not finish paying up in. And there are some other things that I feel like eating that we don't know. But they are not all we can discuss in one day. Because even the mortgage that we take, bank will quote interest rate when we are getting there. But what they quote as interest rate, for us, they say the annual payment, the annual periodic rate that we see is not what we are paying. There is the effective rate that we are paying, which is higher than that. And this is why so when I started by saying that 90% of people in North America are financial illiterates, you cannot see. Because there are a lot of eating things, and because we are also so busy, we don't really sit down to look at even statements, to read our statement, to know, okay, why is this way? I've been paying off this mortgage now, why this thing don't move now? So those are the things we must look at. Then after debt management, and okay, before I do debt management, another thing I must say about debt management is this. We say, reduce it as much as possible, but in case you now see someone that, unfortunately, things have gone a little bit bad with the credit, the financial situation is not so good, and I think, oh, let me go and declare bankruptcy, because that's another trap that people fall into. I'll declare bankruptcy now, and I don't have anything, and I don't have anything to pay. And you just feel, oh, well, after declaring the bankruptcy, the worst, I won't get anything. But it will affect you more than what you think. You declare the bankruptcy, they leave the money for you. By the time they leave you, you're not paying that money. But don't forget, before they leave that money, they will look at every other asset that you have. So there are some things you will fulfill in the process if you already have some assets. Then you are not able to build credit again until that thing goes off your record. You cannot get even a credit card during the 5-year period that you are on that bankruptcy. By the time it now clears, you still have another 2 years for you to completely clear before any bank can even consider you and say, okay, let's even give you this and start building your credit all over. So during those periods, if there are some things you need to do based on credit history, and sometimes you even see some workplaces, especially like people who are into in care sector, you see some places that they look at your credit, they ask you that declare bankruptcy, that it impacts even what you're doing. So all these kind of things, even in financial industry, that's one of the things they ask you. Have you ever declared bankruptcy? So it will really affect such a person. So if you see such a person, let's say it's somebody who has not even done that, but they are thinking about that. If they are fortunate, maybe they meet a financial advisor like us, can say, oh, don't do that. We know you cannot pay, but there is a softer ground. Because in every system, there will always be a lesser evil. There's a softer ground, and that softer ground is what we call consumer proposal. We just say, okay, we will introduce you to experts. They will help you consolidate all your debts, talk to all your debtors. Based on your income now, they let them know this is what you can pay, and they can write off as much as 90% of that debt. Then help you spread the remaining 10% over 5 years. And if they spread it over 5 years, if you have the money, the whole full money tomorrow, after you have signed that document, you can go and pay that, and that is the end of that debt. For that, you will still see some financial institutions or the grocery stores that will give you credit card. But for somebody who declares bankruptcy, even grocery stores will not give them any credit card. So that's okay, oh good. Then after say a year or 2 years after you have paid up, the whole thing clears. So these are the little things people need to know. Then after debt management, they talk about emergency fund. Just like my brother said the other time, that you should be able to save some money aside for some things that may happen that are beyond control. Usually, the standard is this: they say, okay, that we should have like 3 to 6 months of our regular expenses as emergency fund. And when we talk about emergency fund, let me tell you this again. Credit card is not an emergency fund. Line of credit is not an emergency fund. You're talking about funds that will not make you go into debt. That is what we call emergency fund. Because most of us swipe the card, we don't really know that most times we don't have that emergency fund. So that if anything happens today that requires me to spend $1,000, the question is, can I bring out that $1,000 without resorting to a credit card or line of credit? If it's yes, that $1,000 is your emergency fund. What you are just doing is to discipline yourself not to spend it. So you must set aside emergency fund. Then after you have the emergency fund, then you can now talk about any other forms of investments. You can now put everything in any other forms of investment. Next slide, please. Okay, so we are now putting the investment, but everything I've mentioned, they work together to help us create wealth. And there's what we call the wealth formula. In the wealth formula, there is a very simple formula that applies to everybody. And that's why I said that not all of us will delegate, but in our own level, we can create some level of comfort for ourselves. We can be smart enough in the system, do things right, and still accumulate some wealth relatively. So the wealth formula says what? Money plus time, plus or minus rate of return, minus inflation, minus tax. That is the tax must always be there. Is equal to wealth. And what does that mean? I brought this quote from Warren Buffett. He said that you don't save what is left after spending, but you spend what is left after saving. And that takes me to the mistake that majority of us make. We cater for so many things. We're so busy catering for so many things around us. But the most important thing that we need to cater for, we don't. And what is that most important thing? Ourselves. For instance, majority of you, if you look at it, most of us here, when we get our phones, those smart watches and everything, what do? They tell us you want to buy what? Insurance. And then you insure them. we pay, we protect all those gadgets. But at the end of the day, are we really protecting ourselves? Are we making it to take care of ourselves? We think so much about every bill that we don't think about the most important bill, myself. Those bills are still there, they are still being paid. It's because I am still here working. If anything happens to me, I'm not able to work again. What happened to the responsibility on me? So which means you must also consciously see yourself as a being. What does that mean? From every paycheck, you can decide, now make that decision of, from every paycheck, so amount, before I pay anything, even before I pay rent, this one, I will save it for myself. No matter how little, that I must put this one somewhere for myself. I must see myself as an important bill. Because all the bill we are paying, the truth is this. We are paying them, we are meeting those, and because we saw them as important. If I'm going to take up 2 shots, I'm taking one shift. So it's because I see all those bills as being important. That's why I'm saying, it was because of this bill that I have to do the jobs. But what if I included myself in that bill? Which I also be thinking of, if I must pay myself, so I must make more money to pay myself. And that is what the prophet means by saying that we don't save what is left after spending, but we spend what is left after saving. See yourself as an important bill going forward. Think about, no matter how little, be disciplined enough to invest or say something towards my own future, towards myself. Then also, that is one time that you learn to pay yourself first. You are the most important being in this world. No being is as important as you. They will grow our wealth. I mentioned some things needed here. We need money. Yeah, we need money to grow wealth. That is the sad truth. But when we say we need money, I'm not saying you need large money or small money. Like I said the other time, we won't be Gates or prophet of this. We're a prophet of this world, but everyone, no matter how little your wealth that you want to create today, you need some money. It doesn't necessarily that have to be large amount of money. So you need money, you want to grow wealth. Then time, which means our money needs time to grow, to translate into what? Wealth. When it don't grow overnight, it's not a magic. You need to give it time. And giving it time is what now leads to when you have to start. If you are not, the best time to start doing well to yourself is what? Yesterday. Then the next best time is what? Today. If you have not started yesterday, then you must make sure that you want to start today. Then now, apart from the time you now need, because it has to be, you give it time to grow. Very long time. You need good rate of return to be able to create wealth. In the capital market, you know that rate of return can fluctuate. It goes up, it comes down, but in the long run, I need a good rate of return. No matter how risk averse you might say somebody is, we won't have somebody that will say that I'm comfortable that if I put 1,000 somewhere, that 1,000 should become 0 because I'm risk averse. No, no matter how risk averse you might be, you will still want to make some interest on your investment, on your money. The level at which you want to take risk, that is what could be different. So somebody will say, oh no, I'm a very risk-loving person. I don't mind putting my money where I can make high rate of return today, and if it falls tomorrow, okay, I'm still okay with 20%. That is what can be different. But you won't see anybody that wants to say, I want to put my money somewhere. I don't mind it just like not making anything or becoming negative. No. We need good rate of return. Like I said, you need to then you have to consider some things that are outside your control. One is what? Inflation. That is what we call the time value of money. The value of the $1,000 you have today won't be the same in the next 10 years. So you have to put that into consideration. Then don't forget that as you try to create wealth, CRA is there, waiting to get its own portion of what you are doing. Just like as you try to, because when you go to work, you are trying to create wealth for yourself now. Then see how they sit down here and say, okay, yeah, give us our cut. The same thing when you are trying to invest. See how they is sitting there, looking at you and say, okay, now you have done it. Let's have our own cut. So you must also put that into consideration. And what you must notice is, when you are getting a rate of return that cannot outweigh the combined effect of tax and inflation, you're already losing on that investment. If your rate of return will not outweigh the combined effect of, because if you look at it, inflation and tax came in with minus, that's not it. So they are taking away from your ability to create wealth. So if the rate of return you are getting at the end of the day cannot outweigh them. In Canada today, maybe our rate of inflation is like maybe around 2.3 or thereabouts. Now, if you look at that rate of inflation, and you now decide to leave your money in a Canadian bank that says, oh, I'll come to high yield savings account, and that high yield savings account goes 1.5. So that was certainly very better with you, because you are not being able to defeat inflation. When I say charity is not better with you, do you know that's even in quotes? You know why? Because in such kind of financial instruments, savings, then when you're able to make that 1.5 that you think is not much, at the end of the day, the bank will send you tax receipts so that you can declare to CRA that I gained this on my. And do you know that when you declare that, do you know what that means? It is adding to your taxable income. So you will only escape it if you are not in high brackets. Before adding that, maybe even after that, my income is still negligible now, so CRA, I will come to you some other time. But if you are already up here, a little addition can even push you higher to a higher tax bracket. So that is why you must watch it very well. But how do we go about all this? How do we handle CRA in the legal way, the right way? They are part of what being financially educated is. You understand? That if you understand the different approach, because the truth is this: the laws are there for us. Do this, pay this, but in the same system, there are legal loopholes in the law. But those loopholes, government will not tell you. Just like the motor of Ontario, just to discover. They are just to discover. But the one I will take from you, they make all those for obvious. The one you can benefit from, they are just to discover. Every one of us must pay our fair share of tax. Tax evasion is illegal and criminal. It's a criminal act. But there is tax avoidance. That is the good news. And tax avoidance is illegal. Just like most of our commissioners do that. You know that in Canada, individual employees bear the brunt of the tax most, because the marginal tax rate is high than for CCPC, the Canadian controlled private corporations, which most professionals have. So, if I'm already earning over $150,000, I want to look for ways for me not to earn it in my name and earn it in the name of a company. Because for the Canadian controlled private corporation, your net income before 500,000 still starts between 9 to 12% in any province, depending on the province. But if the federal tax rate in any province, the least you will see is like 25%. So if you are now earning high with your income, you are pushing yourself to like 50%, 45% tax rate. So you now being able to now say, okay, I won't have a corporation, let me help with my corporation. That is a legal tax avoidance way. The same thing, you have those kind of practice even in what you do in investment. There are places you can put your investment that see how they will see one say, okay, let's relax for this guy. For instance, quite a lot of us know you do RSP, Registered Retirement Savings Plan. You know that when you contribute to RSP, when you are filing your tax, the portion you contribute to that RSP will be deducted from your taxable income. So you enjoy the tax benefit there. It reduces your taxable income. But you need the knowledge of all this to be able to know, okay, I don't have to lie to say how that I is, but at least there are some ways I can reduce that tax liability. The same way, the returns on your investment, there are legal ways to reduce the tax burden. Okay. Okay, yeah. Instead of that, I'm just talking about the investment part. Somebody else to talk about the protection part. In Canada and US, any form of investment or service that we do, in relation to tax, fall into three major categories. You see that we are paying the tax now, or we pay the tax later, or a tax advantage, or tax deferred. See how they don't like us using that word tax free, except in one place, where CRA has legally given us that it is tax free. So any form of investment you put your money in, it can either fall into any of these three brackets. Then you're paying your tax now on it. Like I spoke about the other time, that you have savings that give you a significant amount of interest. Bank send tax receipt to you, go and declare to CRA because you must pay the tax now. Even when you have not pulled out that interest, you have earned it. CRA is not saying you should pull it out before the tax year that you have earned that for that year. What you have in your savings, what you have in your GIC, you get dividends from your stock, you have to declare to CRA for that tax year. Your mutual fund, you have to do that. Government gives you interest on the government bond that you buy, you have to declare it as additional income. And to be taxed at your current marginal tax rate. What if your marginal tax rate is high now? Then we have the tax letter. The tax letter, you are not paying the tax now, but you come back and pay the tax later. Example, the common example is our RSP, the Registered Retirement Savings Plan. Like I said, when you contribute into it, CRA even subtract it from your income. It is as if you didn't really make it for that year. But after retirement, when you want to start pulling the fund out, then you have to pay tax on it when you're now. So it now depends on your level income then, active income that you're still making. Some people, it will be an advantage to them. How? Maybe at that parameter, they are not even any active income again. So marginal tax rate will have dropped. So what they are supposed to have paid at the higher tax rate, they may now be paid at a lower tax rate. So there is that advantage there. Then when you put, say, even RSP, okay, now which is a very good product that every parent must do for their kids. If not for anything, at least to get free money from government. The Canadian Education Savings Grants, irrespective of your income level, even if you're earning $1 million a year, you open an RSP for your child, government will still pay 20% of what you're dropping into it for that child also contribute into the RSP. You contribute 20% up to a maximum of $500 per year. And if you put it where it is going very well, then you are sure that child has the money to go to school when you are going to college or university. Why do we say it starts later? Remember that you are paid with after tax money, but you will invest it. Government gives grants. The grant from the government is also what? Invested. You will make gain. But that gain now goes to the child. So it is the child that will pay the tax on it. But most children will escape it, no one. By the time they are in university, they are not really working. So if they will fight tax with it, quite alright. They will fight their tax with it. But they are still maybe with everything they have made, everything is still at the level where CRA will exempt you. So it is tax data, but most students will not pay any tax on it because the tax is not on the parents. Then annuity, pension, the same people that are contributing to OJ security, all those things are taxed later. But there are also things that are about tax advantage, like I said. But there, some we use the word tax advantage, tax deferred. We are afraid using the word tax free, but they could be completely tax free. One popular one that is just tax free is your TFSA. Because CRA themselves use the word tax free. They call it what? The tax free savings account. And it's a very good basket to put your emergency fund. Because the reason is this: whatsoever you have in your TFSA, even if it doubles, CRA will not tax you on it. The only thing is that CRA will always cap how much you can pay into it. For instance, CRA will let you know, okay, for this year, we are all giving $7,000 allowed limit that we can contribute to them. But you start building up, assume that anybody start building up CFSA in Canada from when they turn 18. So up to now, that we have the maximum that we have is like 109,000. So CRA gives you, then if you check the notice of assessment, if you find the tax, you will see the allowed limit. As soon as you have not gone above the allowed limit, you can invest that amount of money, and even if it doubles, CRA will not ask for a cent from that your gain. The reason is this: CRA allows you to be tax free. So when you invest on that life insurance or disability insurance and everything that could become protection, they are also tax free. Like I said, I'm not really want to talk about the protection, but gone are those eras of people doing life insurance just for death benefit. That will sign up for this so that when I'm gone, some people come and collect money. No, that's not do that. While I'm here, what I call life insurance, I also want to benefit from it. So if I say I want to do that, now if I don't want to benefit from it, it will be my choice. Not because the system forces me not to benefit. So, under life insurance now, you have life insurance where you have reinvestments. And those investments are tax sheltered. CRA knows you are making the gain, but CRA is not asking every day to come and declare that gain. So it is when you want to put those gains out, the strategy you will use to put them out is what will not determine whether they will be tax free or you will give them back to CRA. And since there are strategies for you to get them out tax free, which means eventually, if you work well with your advisor, you get everything tax free. So if I ask the question now, if you have the opportunity of putting money in any of these three, okay, which one will be your first priority? Tax advantage, because we don't want to save in taxes. Even as business owners, as businesses want to save in taxes. We know we have to pay our fair share. That's why I call it fair share. Let me pay my fair share, not me paying more than what I'm supposed to pay. If the law says, okay, if I invest in this, I enjoy this benefit of tax. Why will I now say, okay, I don't want to enjoy that? no, I just want to pay tax. No. That is why the first thing that should come when you are thinking about investment is, can I get tax advantage vehicles to put this my investment or this my savings? And that is when we can build wealth with whatsoever we are doing. So, lastly, after this was yes. So, I'm going to stop on this, saying this. When you are doing any form of investments, savings, to build wealth, there are 4 important factors that you must look out for. What are those important factors? One is growth. Like I said the other time, we all need good rate of return on our investment. We need good rate of return. So we need growth. I need my money to grow. I don't want bank. I don't want to have money sitting down in savings account in bank, but the bank is smart enough, my money is not sitting down in that account. My money is working for the bank somewhere. Any growth for the bank. But I just feel, because whenever I walk into the bank, if I want to collect my money, I'll get my money. And you feel the money is sitting there. No. On a continuous basis, the money is being invested. What if I can do that by myself? What if I have somewhere I can put that money? Because the bank that collects my money will take my money to asset management company. What if I have the opportunity of taking my money directly to the asset management company? The bank that wants to give me GIC, 2% on GIC, 3% on GIC, is not getting just 3%. The bank can put it somewhere where they will make 20%. What if I have the opportunity, or I have to meet somebody that can lead me to where I can make my 20% directly by myself? So we must look for growth, and they are possible in the system. That is what we independent financial advisors do for people. It is still these same financial institutions. They are the ones that will still invest it, but now we will put it on the contract of it is going, your 20% should come back to you 20%. Because at the end of the day, just like if some of us that deal with stocks, just like when you look at your stock, you will see they will put management expense ratio. That is, they are taking something that is cost them. If you are already taking what it costs you to help me manage it, why should you take more from what is supposed to come to me? Because if they quote a particular interest, that interest is net of the management expense ratio. I will show you a client on something that I helped them do with the TFSA account. One of the funds where I put the TFSA account over a period of 1 year did 56%. Net of management expense ratio. Like the same TFSA, I have it in a bank. The bank will take it to where I told you that did that over 50 something, pay the 3% or 2% expense ratio. And make that 56 and come back and give me 2%. But it is hard to discover. The bank has building, so that is what every one of us walk into, not knowing that there are places that we can go to where they can go to invest our money. So we need good goods. Then we need safety. When I invest my money, I want to be sure it is safe where I'm putting it. Good news, financial institutions in Canada, most financial institutions in Canada, the big banks, the big insurance company, the investment company, if you go and look at their history, they've been here for decades. So that is the kind of assurance for us that, okay, my money is safe. From the point of view that, okay, can this bank even go under, or can this insurance company liquidate? If I have companies that have been here for over 100 years, I am not afraid that I will lose my money in such an institution. But again, government also try to help us by giving us a guarantee for some of our deposits. For instance, if you put money in the bank, the CDIC that controls bank, where every bank pays some form of insurance loan, guarantees that at least they guarantee us $100,000. At least I still fair enough. Like if I have $10 million in the bank and the bank goes under, I'm sure I can get $100,000. But it's still a guarantee. And that is part of the secret you must know. But if you look at it, if that investment ought to have been with, say, an insurance company, you are guaranteed of 95% of whatsoever you have there if the company goes under. So which one will I go for? If I have, here I can get 95%, which means if I have 10 million, you are talking about I can get 9,500,000, not 100,000. But it's the same system, but different regulatory bodies. CDIC regulates bank, Assurance regulates insurance company. So it's not there for us to know where we want to put it. So I'm looking for safety, and again I'm looking for what? Tax advantage, because I know that CRA will always ask me something. So I'm also looking from your rule CRA. Is there any way I can get an advantage? So I will look for an investment that will give me tax advantage. Then in that investment also, I can also ask a question. Can this investment also provide some form of protection for me? Since we say protection must be the bedrock, the main foundation, can I can combine both investment and protection together? Yes, there are such opportunities in Canada and US. So at this point, I want to stop here. So, any question?
My question is, when you talk about growth, you say there are places we can reach where the banks are taking money in order to get interest. So how do we reach those places?
Okay. Yeah, very good question. Any other one? So that probably you can just take it together. Okay.
Thank you. My question is, I think you made mention of debt management.
Yes.
So here, and you use the example of mortgage and other years to pay. Yes. So I want to know at what stage should one consider, especially if you are an immigrant, should one consider acquiring a mortgage, and what would be your advice for the payment plans? Go for shorter term or longer period based on credit history.
Thank you. My question is about the tax-free account. Is that through the bank or other institutions? And then you spoke about investment. Are you still going to talk about places and where to invest? Okay.
Thank you.
So just to, I'm sure somebody might want to ask, you mentioned about tax avoidance tips. Yeah, are you still going to talk about that too? Okay. In case, I'm sure somebody might want to ask that question.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the presentation. It's like the way you presented it, it would be wrong to keep your raw cash lying somewhere when it can earn you a lot of money. And even savings accounts are useless. That is just the practical way of looking at it. But then, investing takes a long time to yield. But you need some money also to get going. So how can we navigate all this and still have advantage of risking wasting our money sitting in a savings account.
Okay.
Okay, let me just rephrase something.
Oh.
Sorry. See, there's this, I don't know if it's not a bank actually in Nigeria, piggy vest.
Okay.
Okay, so I used to put money in piggy vest, and every month the amount of money that the interest interests me somehow compared to the money I left in GT Bank.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, do we have things that looks like that in Canada?
Yeah.
So that at least you know that at the end of the month I can withdraw some money from the money I saved with these people, just like she said, it's immediate. If I decide to take my 30,000 that is off, 100,000 that is on the savings with them, I can use that for within the month.
Okay. Yeah, just like okay. Okay. So now let's start with your question. That okay, how do you get to put your money in those places directly by yourself? You said now that is the, I would say one, that is the challenge. It's not a problem. That is the challenge, and that is part of the trick in the system. But government is also in a way solving that, because from history, what happened is this: some classes of financial products were restricted to some selected people that the financial institution considered their what? Their high net worth clients. So that bubble is what we are trying to burst. That I don't have to have millions to enjoy good financial products. That I can start at my level and build it to the level that I can build it up to. I am the person who can do the same product. What we will get is the difference will just be okay, you put 1 million, you will get more relative to what you have put. I put my 1,000, then I have to also get something that is based on my 1,000 but the same product. So that what we do is that for you to reach such kind of institution, they are considered wholesale institutions in the financial space. That is where we come in as independent advisor. We serve as the middleman between those financial institutions that are considered as wholesale. Even though you see their buildings around, the only difference is that you cannot walk into those buildings. Yeah. For instance, if you look at most of the big insurance companies in Canada, they are not companies you can walk to and say you want to come and do this. But they are there, you still have to believe it. Does it mean you can't benefit from what they stand about? But you can. From us, they also try to help us to find ways to get the best from but you know they can't do that without people who can reach those institutions for you. So they are also encouraging a lot of people to become independent financial advisors. Okay, then you ask the question on the mortgage that okay, as a immigrant, when is the best? But the same truth is this: when it comes to mortgage, when people talk about when is the percent, if you have the money with the way mortgage is structured and with the way rent is in this country today, the very first day, if you have the money and you have the legal stand, legal eligibility, resident wife and everything to get your mortgage, the first day you enter into Canada is the best day to get mortgage. Why? Why should I be paying for somebody else's mortgage in form of rent? You understand? But the truth is this: most of us don't have that money, so you have to rent first. Because if you look, the rent is going up. If rent is going up the way it is, You are just taking another place to pay for his mortgage if you can afford to get a mortgage by yourself and refuse to get that mortgage. Now, talking about now what you pay for me, there are even a lot of things in the system. No, now, I'm sure some of us, we have heard about what we call the first home savings account. That is part of what we have people to set up. And you see how people fall the victim of putting that account in the bank. Pardon me, when I just talk about that, it's because of the interest that the bank is giving that I'm not happy about. That's why I usually make them the example. If government is so nice to me and say, okay, if you're a first-time home buyer, we give you opportunity to save, or if you are planning to buy a home, you give opportunity to save into an account that will be tax-free on the condition that what you save in there, you will only use it as part of your down payment. That's what the first home savings account is. Government gives us opportunity to save 8,000 per year. Up to a maximum of 40,000 over a period of 5 years, lifetime maximum. So, and if let's say you save the 5 years, let's say you're planning to get your first home, say in the next 4 years, you start with saving that 8,000 per year towards that year. And the advantages are this. One, that 8,000 salary will be deducted from your income for that year, so it won't be taxed. If you have not put it in an account where it is even growing well for you, the growth on it won't be taxed. So if you are able to save that, the condition is just that you must use it to buy home. You can't use it for another thing. Why they call it what? First